Picture this. You wake up to church bells ringing. The sound comes from across golden fields. Your entire village is about to celebrate the most joyful day of the year. You are part of a farming community. It is autumn, about 800 years ago. The air is cool but warm with happiness. Everyone feels good about a successful harvest. You can smell fresh bread baking in shared ovens. Children's laughter echoes off stone walls. Your neighbors are excited about this moment of shared success. This is not just a simple festival. This is the amazing reality of harvest celebrations from long ago. Entire communities came together. They showed unity and pure human joy. These celebrations were more magnificent than many modern festivals. Before we begin, make sure to tell us where you're listening from. I always love to see how history connects us from all around the world. Forget what you think about the Dark Ages being sad and difficult. These were not simple farming people struggling through hard times. They were master community builders. They were creative problem solvers. They created social bonds so strong they kept civilizations alive through centuries of change. You are about to discover something amazing. These harvest festivals were some of history's most wonderful celebrations. These communities had solved something we still try to perfect today. They knew how to create real abundance. This abundance was in their fields, relationships, and community spirit. They had mastered the art of turning hard work into shared joy. Individual effort became community success. Natural seasons became celebrations. These celebrations fed both body and soul. So prepare to be amazed. You will see smart social systems and brilliant farming innovations. You are about to experience a world where neighbors truly knew each other. Communities worked like extended families. The simple act of growing food became the foundation. It created some of the most joyful celebrations in human history. The perfect morning. The gentle rhythm of those church bells continues. The sound drifts through your wooden window covers. Each note carries the promise of the most awaited day of the year. Outside, the September air holds perfect balance. Summer's warmth meets autumn's cool energy. It is the kind of morning that makes you want to open your door and greet the world. But this is not just any morning. This is Harvest Home Day. Your village is about to transform into something amazing. Modern festival planners would be jealous of what you are about to see. As you put on your finest clothes, you can hear sounds of pure community joy building outside. Yes, people from long ago had best outfits they saved for special occasions. Children's voices ring out in games between houses. Their laughter creates music with the bell's melody. Somewhere nearby, you hear the low rumble of cartwheels on stone streets. Neighbors are bringing their food contributions to the shared feast. The smell coming through your window is magical. Fresh bread from the shared ovens mixes with wood smoke and roasting meats. The sweet scent of apples fills the air. People are making them into alcoholic drinks. Your nose is experiencing one of the most sophisticated seasonal menus in history before machines. These communities had perfected the art of timing their harvest celebrations. They planned for months to coordinate everything perfectly. The food reached peak flavor exactly when the celebration began. A community that truly knows each other. Step outside. You are immediately struck by something amazing. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone is genuinely excited to see each other. Your neighbor Thomas waves from across the square. He is setting up tables with wood carving precision. Good woman Margaret calls out a cheerful greeting. She carries a basket of late harvest pears. They smell like concentrated sunshine. This is not the polite small talk of modern neighborhoods. This is the easy familiarity of people who have worked side by side. They worked through planting, tending, and harvesting. They have shared tools and knowledge and labor all season long. The visual feast before you would challenge every stereotype. People think life from long ago was drab and colorless. Bright banners flutter from every available pole and window. They are dyed with colors extracted from local plants. The shades rival any modern festival decoration. Harvest wreaths crown doorways with artistic arrangements. Grain stalks, late berries, and autumn leaves showcase sophistication. This is often overlooked by history books. The village square has been transformed. It looks like an outdoor cathedral of celebration. Seating is carefully arranged. Everyone has a place at the communal table, from the wealthiest merchant to the youngest child. Everyone belongs. The culmination of success. What you are witnessing is the culmination of history's most successful social experiments. This is the farming community from long ago. These were not primitive societies struggling for survival. They were innovative civilizations. They had solved problems modern communities still face. They had figured out how to create genuine food security. They did this through cooperative farming. They built social networks that functioned as both economic and emotional support systems. They transformed the basic necessity of growing food into occasions. These occasions were spectacular community celebrations. The morning air carries more than just the scent of baking bread. It carries the satisfaction of a community that has successfully coordinated the labor of hundreds of people. This work happened across months to create abundance for everyone. You are not just witnessing a party, you are experiencing the victory celebration of a sophisticated society. They had mastered the art of collective success, and the best part, the celebration has only just begun. The science of community organization. As you walk deeper into the village, you quickly realize something important. This harvest celebration represents something far more sophisticated than a simple seasonal party. What you are witnessing is the culmination of the most advanced community organization system of the time before machines. Every detail has been planned with the precision of a military operation, but this operation's goal is pure, collective joy. The preparation for this festival began weeks ago. The level of coordination would impress modern project managers. Village elders met with skilled worker group representatives. Church officials consulted with farming families. Even the youngest children received specific tasks. These tasks made them essential contributors to the celebration. This was not top-down organization. This was genuine grassroots democracy in action. Every voice mattered. Every contribution was valued. You can see the results of this collaborative planning everywhere. You see perfectly timed food preparation. You see seamlessly coordinated decorations. The atmosphere of shared ownership comes only when everyone truly participates. They participate in creating something beautiful together. Revolutionary food systems. Watch how the food preparation unfolds around you. You will witness innovations that would not look out of place in a modern community kitchen. The communal ovens are massive stone structures. They were among the most expensive and important investments a village could make. These ovens are working at full capacity. Families take turns according to a carefully planned schedule. This ensures everyone's bread bakes at the perfect temperature. The women rotating loaves in and out of these ovens demonstrate coordination. This would challenge modern restaurant kitchens. Each family contributes their specialties. The baker's wife brings honeyed pastries. These require days of preparation. The miller's family contributes grain-based delicacies. These showcase the quality of this year's harvest. The brewmaster's household provides ales. These have been fermenting to perfection for weeks. The food preservation techniques you are observing represent sophisticated technology from before machines. Those barrels being filled with salt-cured meats and pickled vegetables are not just storage containers. They are the products of generations of experimentation and refinement. These techniques guaranteed community food security through the winter months. The women working over steaming pots of preserves are practicing chemistry. This chemistry ensured their families would eat well until the next harvest season. This is not primitive food storage. This is advanced biotechnology. It kept entire communities healthy and well-fed through the harshest seasons. Art and beauty in every detail. The decorative preparations surrounding you showcase sophistication. This challenges every assumption about artistic capabilities from long ago. Those harvest wreaths are not simple arrangements of grain stalks. They are carefully composed artistic creations. These wreaths demonstrate both botanical knowledge and design principles. These would influence decorative arts for centuries. The banners fluttering from every building represent hours of skilled textile work. Colors and patterns required advanced knowledge of natural dyes and weaving techniques. Even the arrangement of tables and seating in the village square follows principles of inclusive design. This ensures optimal sight lines, conversation flow, and social interaction. It works for community members of all ages and social positions. The web of mutual support. What truly sets this preparation apart is the intricate web of reciprocal relationships. These make it all possible. The carpenter who built the extra tables knows his winter firewood will be provided by the woodcutter. The woodcutter's family will eat at those tables. The seamstress who created the beautiful banners trusts something. Her grain needs will be met by the farmers. Those farmers' achievements are what those banners celebrate. This is not just economic cooperation. It is social architecture that created genuine security and prosperity for everyone involved. The children darting between adult activities are not just playing, they are participating in the most effective educational system ever devised, teaches community values and practical skills. Young boys learn carpentry by helping set up celebration structures. Girls master food preparation by assisting with feast creation. They are not just being entertained, they are being trained as the next generation of community leaders, skilled craftspeople, and cooperative neighbors. Education through joy. The festival preparation serves as a massive, joyful apprenticeship program. This ensures cultural knowledge and community values pass seamlessly from one generation to the next. The most remarkable aspect of this preparation is transformation. It transforms individual work into collective celebration. Every task becomes an opportunity for conversation, collaboration, and connection. From chopping vegetables to arranging flowers, work becomes community building. Modern team building exercises pale in comparison to the natural community building that emerges. This comes from neighbors working together. They work toward a shared goal that benefits everyone. You are witnessing the creation of social bonds. These will sustain this community through whatever challenges the coming year might bring. This preparation phase reveals the true genius of harvest festivals from long ago. They were not just celebrations of agricultural success. They were sophisticated systems for reinforcing the social cooperation. This cooperation made that success possible in the first place. Every task completed together strengthens the network of relationships. Every recipe shared strengthens it. Every decoration created collectively strengthens it. These relationships enable the community to thrive. You are not just watching party preparation, you are observing the renewal of the social contract. This contract allows hundreds of people to work together as one extended family. It creates prosperity and joy that individual effort alone could never achieve. The magnificent feast. Now, as the final preparations near completion, you find yourself drawn toward the heart of the celebration. You step into the village square. All the careful planning and skilled preparation have culminated in the most magnificent feast you could imagine. The smell hits you first. Fresh bread, roasted meat, and herbs fill the air. Your modern takeout suddenly seems tasteless compared to this real food. Picture yourself surrounded by the most amazing cooking you've ever seen. Your neighbors have turned simple ingredients into a feast. Even today's best chefs would be amazed by this skill. This isn't just dinner, this is the result of months of hard work. People grew food, preserved it, and worked together as a community. The heart of this celebration is the shared bread ovens. These stone structures show how clever people were back then. You watch skilled bakers pull out perfect loaves. The bread has been rising since dawn. The crust is golden brown and makes crackling sounds. These ovens aren't just for baking, they're community projects. Everyone helped build them. Everyone helps maintain them. Each family brought grain from their harvest, but the bread belongs to everyone. This shows how villagers understood something important. Individual success means nothing without helping everyone prosper. The warmth from these ovens doesn't just bake bread, it creates the heart of your village. People gather around them, they appreciate the shared abundance together. Culinary mastery. Your mouth waters as you look at the feast. You're seeing food techniques that fed European civilization for centuries. The seasonal foods available only during harvest time show cooking innovation at its best. You see fresh apples made into complex preserves. These will provide vitamin C through winter months. This shows nutritional wisdom that modern science only recently rediscovered. Skilled cooks have created elaborate meat dishes. They use every part of recently killed animals. Nothing goes to waste. Every bite maximizes both flavor and nutrition. The variety is amazing. Roasted goose stuffed with herbs, pork seasoned with precious spices, fish prepared using techniques passed down through generations of coastal communities. You witness how villagers maximize their harvest through smart sharing systems. You participate in a meal where every dish represents working together. The grain was ground at the shared mill. The meat came from animals raised through cooperative herding. The vegetables came from fields worked by neighbors helping neighbors. This isn't primitive survival. This is advanced social organization. It ensured everyone in your community had access to nutritious, delicious food. It didn't matter what their individual circumstances were. The elderly widow sitting beside you enjoys the same feast as the wealthy merchant. Your village understood that community strength came from ensuring everyone's well-being, not just the fortunate few. Innovation in every bite. What strikes you most is the innovation in every bite. Cooks back then were master chemists. They used fermentation, smoking, salting, and drying. These techniques created flavors that modern processed food can't match. You taste bread made from carefully selected grains. You try aged cheeses that represent months of skilled cultivation. You drink ales brewed with precision. This would impress today's craft brewers. These weren't desperate attempts to make food edible. These were sophisticated cooking traditions. They created genuinely superior flavors while ensuring food safety and nutritional value. The feast surrounding you proves that these communities didn't just survive, they thrived through agricultural and cooking expertise. This supported complex, prosperous societies. As you join your neighbors in this magnificent celebration, you understand why harvest feasts were the cornerstone of community life. This meal represents the successful completion of the agricultural year. More importantly, it demonstrates your community's mastery of complex systems. These systems transformed raw ingredients into winter security and shared prosperity. Every dish tells a story of cooperation, innovation, and mutual support. These built the foundations of European civilization. The feast before you isn't just food, it's proof of what humans can accomplish when they work together with shared purpose and collective wisdom. The art of festival clothing. But before you could fully participate in this remarkable feast, there was one more important ritual to observe. Earlier in the day, you had stood before your wooden chest. You carefully selected the garments that would mark your participation in this sacred celebration. You stood before your wooden chest, selecting garments that represent months of skilled labor and community pride. You suddenly understood why festival attire back then was considered among the finest clothing in world history. The outfit you chose wasn't just something to wear, it was a masterpiece of textile production. It was a symbol of your community's prosperity. It was a celebration of craftsmanship that puts modern mass production to shame. Every thread in your festival clothes told a story of innovation, skill, and attention to detail. These garments lasted decades instead of seasons. This wasn't just getting dressed, this was participating in a tradition of excellence. This tradition connected communities to the highest levels of human artistic achievement, from plant to perfection. The process of creating your festival attire began months ago. It started with your community's sophisticated textile production systems. You ran your hands over fabric that started as flax plants grown in local fields. Skilled workers transformed these plants into linen. This linen felt softer and more durable than anything in your modern closet. The wool came from sheep raised through cooperative herding arrangements. Artisans then spun and wove in it. Their expertise rivaled any contemporary textile workers. The dyes creating rich colors came from carefully cultivated plants and minerals. Workers mixed them using techniques that produced hues. These were more vibrant and lasting than synthetic alternatives. Every piece of your festival clothing represented a complex supply chain. This chain was managed entirely through community cooperation and shared expertise. Fashion innovation. The garments themselves showcased fashion innovation that influenced clothing design for centuries. Your festival tunic fit perfectly. It was cut and sewn by skilled tailors. These tailors understood body mechanics and fabric behavior better than most modern designers. The construction techniques were remarkable. French seams, reinforced stress points, adjustable lacings. These demonstrated engineering principles that created clothing both beautiful and functional. The embroidery decorating your sleeves wasn't just decoration, it was a form of artistic expression that required years of training. It represented significant economic investment. You wore wearable art that doubled as practical clothing. This was created through skill levels that sustained entire guild systems and trade networks. Seasonal symbolism. The seasonal decorations adorning your festival attire connected you to the agricultural calendar. This calendar governed life back then. You pinned harvest symbols to your clothing. Wheat stalks, grape clusters, autumn leaves. These celebrated the specific achievements of your community's agricultural year. These weren't random decorations. They were carefully chosen symbols. They communicated your role in the harvest success. They showed your gratitude for the abundance surrounding you. The colors you wore mirrored the autumn landscape. Deep golds, rich browns, vibrant reds. They demonstrated your community's understanding of how clothing should harmonize with natural cycles. Every decorative element connected you to the seasonal rhythms. These rhythms sustained civilization back then. The psychology of transformation. What amazed you most was the psychology behind festival clothing. You understood that these garments weren't everyday wear. They were carefully preserved for special occasions. These occasions marked important moments in community life. The act of putting on your festival clothes transformed you. You changed from daily laborer to celebration participant. This created a psychological shift. It enhanced your appreciation for the feast and festivities ahead. The collective impact of everyone wearing their finest clothing created a visual celebration. This reinforced community bonds and shared prosperity. You participated in sophisticated social theater. This theater strengthened the cultural foundations of society back then. Economics of excellence. The economics of your festival attire revealed remarkable ability to create luxury through collective effort. The clothing you wore represented significant investment, not just in materials and labor, but in the social systems that made such quality possible. Your garments were created through guild systems that maintained quality standards. Apprenticeship programs transferred skills across generations. Trade networks brought the finest materials to your community. The fact that ordinary villagers could afford such high-quality clothing demonstrated economic prosperity. This challenged modern assumptions about poverty back then. You wore proof that communities created broadly shared wealth through cooperative systems. These systems supported both individual achievement and collective well-being. The honor of participation. As you adjusted your festival attire and prepared to join the celebration, you recognized something important. You participated in a tradition that connected communities to the highest levels of human artistic and social achievement. Your clothing wasn't just fabric and thread. It was a symbol of your community's mastery of complex production systems. It showed your participation in sophisticated social networks. It represented your role in seasonal celebrations that sustained European civilization for centuries. The care you took in dressing for the festival demonstrated respect for community traditions. It showed appreciation for the skilled artisans whose work made such beauty possible. You weren't just getting dressed, you were honoring the remarkable human capacity for creating both functional excellence and artistic beauty. This happened through collective effort and shared purpose. The Village Festival. You step into the village square. You see why old communities brought people together so well. This isn't just a gathering, it's a planned dance of human cooperation. The stone plaza has become something magical. Every detail serves a purpose. Everyone feels included, from the youngest child to the oldest villager. Everyone feels important to the celebration. The change began at dawn. You see months of planning. Long wooden tables stretch across the square in careful patterns. They're not placed randomly. They're positioned so conversation flows naturally between families. Skilled workers can display their best work. The elderly have honored seats with perfect views. These aren't just tables, they're proof of a social agreement. Every community member matters. Watch how smoothly people move between different groups. Children run between conversations carrying messages and small gifts. Even the most shy villagers join the warmth of group celebration. This is community building at its finest. The decorations tell a story. They show a community that understood celebration better than any modern team. Harvest wreaths don't just hang randomly. They're positioned to create natural meeting points. Shy community members can start conversations about shared farming experiences. The arrangement of seasonal crops isn't just decoration, it's education. It shows children and newcomers the variety their shared work has produced. The decorations include symbols from every household, the bread makers' wheat bundles, the metal workers' carefully made iron leaves, the cloth makers' harvest-themed wall hangings. This isn't just decoration, it's a visual celebration of how individual skills combine to create community wealth. Every banner reminds people of something important. This abundance exists because people chose to work together. The social structure you experience represents centuries of refined community wisdom. Old-time villagers didn't just stumble into effective social organization, they developed sophisticated systems. These systems ensured celebration brought people together rather than highlighting divisions. Watch how the seating arrangements encourage cross-class interaction. Notice how the wealthy merchant's family is positioned. They can easily chat with the grain miller's children. The local lord's table is placed not above others. It's in a position that makes him accessible to anyone who needs to speak with him. This isn't accidental social mixing. It's the result of community leaders who understood something important. Harvest festivals succeeded only when they strengthened social bonds rather than creating barriers. The genius of old-time community gathering becomes clear. You observe layers of activity happening at the same time. While the main feast preparations continue, smaller groups engage in different activities. These accommodate varying social preferences and energy levels. The skilled craft workers have set up informal displays. They're not just showing off their work, they're actively teaching techniques to interested neighbors. The musicians aren't performing for a passive audience. They're creating opportunities for everyone to participate. The storytellers aren't just entertaining, they're preserving community history. They're teaching important lessons wrapped in engaging stories. This is multi-generational programming that puts modern community centers to shame. What strikes you most powerfully is how this gathering feels both organized and spontaneous. There's clearly structure here. The feast will begin at a specific time. Certain rituals will be observed. Particular traditions will be honored. Yet within that framework, there's incredible flexibility. Individual expression and spontaneous interaction flourish. Children who were helping with preparations earlier are now engaged in elaborate games. These seem to spring up naturally, but actually teach important social skills. Adults who might normally have little interaction find common ground. They share stories about this year's unusual weather patterns. They discuss particularly successful crop experiments. Even the village animals seem part of the celebration. This is what genuine community looks like, structured enough to be effective, flexible enough to be genuinely inclusive. The timing of activities reveals another layer of old-time social sophistication. As the afternoon progresses, you notice how the energy naturally shifts. Activities accommodate different needs and preferences. The more energetic games and competitions happen when energy is high. The storytelling and music begin as people settle into their feast. This creates a more intimate atmosphere, perfect for sharing and reflection. The dancing starts as the meal winds down. This gives everyone a chance to participate in celebration that's physical but not overwhelming. This isn't just good party planning. It's evidence of communities that paid attention to human psychology. As you absorb the sophisticated rhythm of community life unfolding around you, your attention is drawn to a new wave of energy rippling through the square. The moment you hear the first shouts of competition from the field, you realize something extraordinary is happening. The feast and gathering have naturally evolved into the next phase of celebration. The harvest games. These aren't just games, they're the culmination of a sophisticated entertainment system. Old-time communities developed these activities to strengthen social bonds. They showcase individual skills and create collective joy. This joy would sustain relationships through the harder months ahead. The harvest contests, beginning in the central field, showcase old-time communities at their most brilliantly competitive. The grain-beating competition isn't just about who can work fastest. It's a celebration of essential skills that literally keep the community alive. These skills are transformed into entertainment that teaches, inspires, and brings people together. Watch how the competitors aren't just showing off individual prowess. They're demonstrating techniques that younger community members study intently. Families cheer not just for their own members. They cheer for particularly innovative approaches. Even the losers receive appreciation for their participation and skill. This is competition that builds community rather than dividing it. The apple-picking races reveal another layer of old-time entertainment genius. These contests serve multiple practical purposes. They get the remaining fruit harvested efficiently. They provide hilarious entertainment for all ages. They create opportunities for people who might not excel in other areas to shine. Notice how the rules allow different strategies to succeed. Teamwork is rewarded alongside individual skill. The contest evolves naturally to include variations. These accommodate different physical abilities and ages. The teenagers who dominate the speed competitions cheer loudly for the elderly participants. The children have their own parallel contests. These mirror the adult activities, while being perfectly suited to their capabilities. But it's the traditional games that truly showcase old-time social innovation. The elaborate storytelling competitions happening under the great oak tree aren't just entertainment. They're sophisticated systems for preserving community history. They teach important lessons and allow individuals to gain status through skill rather than just birth or wealth. Listen to how the stories incorporate recent events. They include community challenges and local personalities. This strengthens social bonds while providing genuine entertainment. The audience participation isn't passive. People actively evaluate narrative skill. They contribute details and learn community values through shared cultural experience. This is social media before social media existed. and it's far more effective at creating genuine community connection. The music and dance activities represent perhaps the most sophisticated example of old-time entertainment technology. What you're witnessing isn't just people having fun, it's a carefully evolved system for creating collective joy. This system includes everyone regardless of skill level, age, or social position. The musicians aren't just performers, they're facilitators who adjust their selections based on crowd energy and participation levels. The dances aren't just entertainment, they're structured activities that create opportunities for social interaction across normal boundaries. They teach coordination, cooperation, and cultural traditions. Watch how the most skilled dancers naturally become teachers. The music adapts to accommodate different participation levels. Even the most reluctant participants are gradually drawn into the collective celebration. The games of skill scattered throughout the celebration area reveal something important. Old-time communities understood human psychology and social dynamics. The bow and arrow contests, hammer throwing, and various tests of strength aren't just competitions. They're opportunities for individuals to gain recognition and status through excellence. They contribute to community entertainment while doing so. Notice how the contests are structured to allow different types of skill to shine. The betting and encouragement create investment from spectators. Even failed attempts are celebrated for their entertainment value. The social rules governing these competitions are incredibly sophisticated. They ensure that winning brings honor without creating lasting resentment. Losing is softened by community support. The contests strengthen rather than divide social relationships. The children's activities represent perhaps the most impressive example of old-time educational innovation. The games you see aren't just keeping kids busy, they're teaching essential life skills through play. That's so engaging, the learning happens naturally. The mock harvest competitions teach agricultural techniques. They build physical strength and coordination. The storytelling games develop memory and speaking skills. They transmit cultural values. The cooperative building projects teach problem solving and teamwork. The crafting activities develop manual skills while producing gifts. These gifts strengthen social bonds. This is education that's effective because it's genuinely fun. It's creating community members who will carry these skills forward. As evening approaches, the energy shifts toward more intimate entertainments. You witness the final layer of old-time social genius. The quieter games and activities emerge naturally. They accommodate different energy levels and social preferences. The riddle contests challenge mental agility while teaching clever thinking. The small group singing creates intimate social bonds. The craft demonstrations allow skilled artisans to share knowledge. They create beautiful objects that will remind people of this celebration. Even the gradual transition from active games to contemplative activities serves the community. It ensures that the celebration ends on a note of satisfied togetherness rather than exhausted overstimulation. What strikes you most powerfully is how every single activity serves multiple purposes. These aren't just games, they're sophisticated social technologies that old-time communities developed to strengthen bonds. They teach skills, create joy, and build the kind of social capital that sustained communities through challenges. The sacred morning. The following morning brings a profound shift in atmosphere as the deep church bells ring across your village. The joyful competitions and games of yesterday have given way to something more solemn and sacred. They call everyone to the most sacred moment of the harvest festival. You walk with your neighbors toward the stone chapel. You join a procession that shows medieval Europe's most advanced spiritual community organization. The morning air smells of special religious incense mixed with fresh grain. Children hold bundles of wheat and barley like precious gifts. Their faces shine with genuine respect. This isn't just a simple religious service. It's the peak of months of collective effort transformed into shared spiritual celebration. Every member of your village participates as equals in giving thanks for abundance. The wealthiest merchant and the humblest field worker stand together. They believe this abundance belongs to everyone. You enter the chapel and see the most breathtaking display of community creativity and devotion. Skilled craft workers have transformed the sacred space into a living testament to agricultural success. Golden grain bundles tower beside the altar like ancient skyscrapers. Their arrangement shows the same careful planning that modern event designers spend years learning to master. The walls display detailed tapestries depicting the cycle of planting, growing, and harvesting. Local weavers created these masterpieces. They understood that celebrating abundance meant showcasing the beauty of the work that created it. The church serves as both spiritual center and community organizer. It creates a sacred space where practical achievement and divine blessing merge. The Harvest Thanksgiving service represents one of medieval Christianity's most brilliant innovations in community building. It transforms individual gratitude into collective celebration. This strengthens social bonds while honoring divine providence. The priest blesses the first fruits of the harvest. You witness a ceremony that goes far beyond simple religious obligation. This sophisticated ritual reinforces community values. It celebrates shared achievement. It ensures everyone feels equally valued in the blessing, regardless of their contribution to the harvest. The religious ceremony includes prayers for those who planted. It includes those who tended, those who harvested, and those who preserved the grain. This comprehensive recognition system honors every role in the community's success. This spiritual celebration seamlessly integrates charitable traditions. The festival's joy reaches every member of the community. You watch as the blessed grain is distributed to everyone. It goes not just to those who contributed to the harvest. Widows, orphans, and travelers who happen to be in the village also receive their share. This welfare system, disguised as spiritual practice, guarantees something important. No one goes hungry during the season of plenty. The church organizes these charitable distributions with remarkable social consciousness. This creates a celebration where abundance is measured not by individual accumulation. Instead, it's measured by the community's ability to ensure everyone shares in the blessing. This isn't charity as we might understand it today. This is a celebration of abundance that recognizes true prosperity only exists when it's shared. The integration of faith and daily life creates meaningful purpose. It transforms ordinary agricultural achievement into something transcendent. The service concludes with the entire community singing together. Their voices rise in harmonies that have echoed through these stone walls for generations. You experience the profound satisfaction that comes from being part of something larger than individual success. The medieval understanding that spiritual celebration and practical achievement are inseparable created remarkable communities. In these communities, work itself became a form of worship. Shared prosperity became the highest expression of faithfulness. This integration of the sacred and the practical creates deep meaning. It makes the festival not just a seasonal celebration, but a renewal of the community's commitment. They commit to supporting each other through whatever challenges the coming year might bring. The market day. As you step from the sacred atmosphere of the chapel, you're immediately immersed in a completely different but equally important aspect of the festival. The transition from spiritual reflection to economic celebration feels natural and purposeful. You step into the bustling energy of the harvest market. The village square has been transformed into a showcase of local talent and ingenuity. Skilled artisans demonstrate techniques that represent centuries of accumulated knowledge. Every transaction strengthens the web of mutual support that keeps the community thriving year-round. This isn't just a simple country fair. This is the medieval economy in full flower. It's a complex system of relationships and expertise that creates prosperity through cooperation rather than competition. You wander through the market stalls, surrounded by demonstrations of craftsmanship. These showcase the medieval guild system's brilliance. Professional organizations created both economic prosperity and social cohesion. The blacksmith's display of agricultural tools isn't just a sales presentation, it's a celebration of the technical innovations that made this year's abundant harvest possible. Improved plow designs increased crop yields, sophisticated harvesting tools reduced labor and increased efficiency. You watch mastercraft workers working alongside their apprentices. They demonstrate techniques that represent generations of accumulated knowledge. Customers examine products with informed appreciation. They understand exactly how difficult it is to create tools that perform flawlessly. The professional organization system represents one of history's most successful examples of vocational education and quality control. It creates an economy where expertise is valued and innovation is rewarded. The next generation is guaranteed the training they need. The trade networks connecting your village to broader regional prosperity become visible during the harvest festival. Merchants arrive with goods that demonstrate the medieval economy's remarkable reach and sophistication. You can examine spices from distant lands. You see textiles woven with techniques from other regions. You inspect tools crafted by specialists whose innovations have spread across trade routes. These routes connect your small village to economic centers hundreds of miles away. This isn't the isolated, backward rural economy that modern stereotypes might suggest. This is a dynamic system where local agricultural abundance creates the foundation for participating in regional and international trade networks. The Harvest Festival showcases how agricultural success creates the economic foundation for broader prosperity. It shows how communities that work together can achieve standards of living that would be impossible for individuals working in isolation. This economic celebration demonstrates the medieval understanding that true prosperity comes through mutual support. You watch neighbors trading services, sharing tools, and recommending each other's products to visiting merchants. You witness an economy based on relationships and reputation rather than pure profit maximization. The Harvest Festival creates the perfect environment for strengthening these economic relationships. Successful farmers recommend skilled craft workers. Artisans showcase tools that helped create the abundant harvest. Merchants build the trust relationships that will sustain profitable trade throughout the coming year. This isn't just economic activity, it's community investment. Every transaction strengthens the social bonds that create long-term prosperity for everyone involved. The medieval economy as a web of mutual support becomes most visible during the Harvest Festival. The year's economic achievements are celebrated not as individual successes, but as collective accomplishments that benefit the entire community. You can see how the successful harvest creates prosperity for farmers. This creates demand for craft workers. This creates trade opportunities for merchants. This creates employment for laborers. This creates customers for local businesses. It's an economic ecosystem where everyone's success depends on everyone else's prosperity. The Harvest Festival celebrates this interconnectedness. It showcases how sophisticated economic thinking created communities where individual achievement and collective prosperity were inseparable. As the day of economic celebration draws to a close, you realize you've witnessed something remarkable. You've witnessed an economy that serves human flourishing rather than demanding human sacrifice. Prosperity is measured by the community's ability to ensure everyone has the opportunity to contribute their talents and share in the resulting abundance. Ancient Harvest Festival, a global story. The harvest celebration reaches its peak around you. Dancing and feasting fill the village square. Then you notice something remarkable beginning to unfold. The same joyful energy that fueled the evening's festivities now transforms. It becomes something deeper and more purposeful. Your neighbors were laughing and dancing just moments ago. Now they gather around carefully arranged displays of seeds. Their faces show expressions of deep respect. They concentrate in the warm glow of moon torches. The seed-saving ceremony. You witness one of history's smartest systems for protecting nature. Your community changes this harvest celebration into a profound teaching moment. This is about caring for the earth. This isn't just getting ready for next year's planting. This is your community showing deep understanding of nature's balance. Modern environmental experts would admire this knowledge. The village's most respected old people step forward. They perform the ancient seed-saving ceremony. Their weathered hands have done this ritual countless times before. They select the most perfect examples from this year's rich harvest. They work with deliberate care. Each grain of wheat carries meaning. Each dried pea holds promise. Each carefully saved apple seed represents next year's food security. These seeds mean more than food. They hold centuries of farming wisdom. This wisdom passed down through generations of master farmers. You witness genetic preservation in action. Your community maintains dozens of crop types. These crops grow specifically for your local soil and weather conditions. Living libraries of knowledge. These aren't just seeds, they're living libraries of farming knowledge. Each type represents years of careful selection and community teamwork. Together, people created plants that grow well in your specific environment. They adapted and improved them season after season. The seed selection ceremony continues. Advanced preservation methods fill the air around you. The rich smells of winter security and community planning surround you. Skilled neighbors demonstrate techniques that would impress modern food scientists. Salt curing methods transform fresh meat. This meat becomes protein that lasts for months. Smoking processes add flavor while preventing spoilage. The art of food preservation. You observe women working together over massive containers. They work with fermented cabbage. Their movements are practiced and efficient. Their rhythmic chopping creates vitamin-rich food. Careful salt layering helps special bacteria work. These bacteria actually improve nutritional value while making food last longer. This will prevent vitamin deficiency through the dark winter months ahead. Nearby, men tend smokehouses. Carefully controlled fires transform fresh fish and wild game. The result is concentrated protein sources that need no cooling technology. Yet they maintain their nutritional density. Your community's approach to food preservation shows understanding of nutrition. This knowledge rivals modern expertise. Ancient innovation. These ancient innovators discovered that fermented foods supported digestive health. They learned that properly dried fruits kept essential vitamins. They found that specific combinations of preservation methods could create foods more nutritious than fresh ones. You watch community members carefully pack root vegetables. They use sand-filled barrels. This creates storage systems that maintain perfect humidity and temperature. They need no modern technology. Their cellars and storage rooms represent architectural marvels. They use climate control with natural insulation and airflow systems. These maintain optimal conditions for different types of preserved foods. Knowledge transfer. The knowledge transfer happening around you transforms this harvest festival. It becomes a living university of sustainable practices. Master preservers work patiently alongside eager apprentices. Their careful instruction ensures that essential survival skills pass smoothly. They move from one generation to the next. You observe teenagers learning the precise timing required. They learn successful bacterial fermentation. Children memorize the specific characteristics that identify perfectly ripe seeds for saving. Young adults master the delicate balance. They learn about salt, time, and temperature that creates successful preservation. This isn't casual instruction. This is systematic education. This education ensures your community's survival knowledge remains unbroken across generations. Resource management. Ancient resource management unfolds before you with impressive sophistication. Community leaders demonstrate planning systems that ensure long-term prosperity. These remarkable people calculate exact amounts of seed needed. They plan for next year's planting while maintaining genetic diversity. They determine optimal ratios of preserved foods to fresh consumption. They coordinate community storage systems that prevent waste while maximizing nutrition. You witness accounting systems that track not just quantities but quality. They keep detailed records. These records ensure that stored foods are rotated properly and consumed at peak nutritional value. Environmental care. Their planning extends far beyond immediate survival. They consider soil health, crop rotation schedules, and weather pattern predictions. These predictions come from accumulated community observations. Your community's commitment to environmental care becomes evident. They use sophisticated composting systems. These systems return organic matter to the soil while creating fertile growing conditions for future harvests. These ancient masters understood that sustainable agriculture required giving back to the land. The land sustained them. You watch as carefully managed compost piles receive precise combinations of organic materials. This creates nutrient-rich soil amendments that modern organic farmers would admire. Their crop rotation systems prevent soil depletion while maintaining productivity. This shows ecological wisdom that took modern agriculture centuries to rediscover. Sacred and practical wisdom. The integration of spiritual and practical wisdom creates preservation ceremonies. These ceremonies honor both divine providence and human responsibility. You participate in blessing rituals that recognize the sacred nature of seeds and preserved foods. These rituals acknowledge that next year's abundance depends on careful care of this year's harvest. These ceremonies combine practical instruction with spiritual reflection. This creates community bonds that ensure everyone understands their role. They understand their role in maintaining the cycle of abundance. The reverence with which your neighbors handle seeds and preserved foods reflects deep understanding. They know that their choices today directly impact their community's future prosperity. Children's education through celebration. As the preservation activities continue through the night, you notice something equally remarkable. The laughter and excited chatter of children fills the air. They participate in every aspect of the celebration. These young voices remind you that this harvest festival serves as something far more significant than a seasonal celebration. You discover that ancient harvest festivals served as the world's most effective educational system. You observe children throughout your community, absorbing essential life skills. They learn through joyful participation in celebration activities. These aren't just kids having fun. They're future community leaders receiving comprehensive training. They learn agriculture, food science, social cooperation, and cultural preservation through hands-on experience. Living classroom. The Harvest Festival transforms into a living classroom. Children learn practical skills through engaging activities that feel like play but provide essential education. You watch 5-year-olds working alongside grandparents to shell beans. Their small fingers develop skill while their minds absorb lessons. They learn about food preparation, seasonal timing, and the importance of community cooperation. These young people aren't just helping, they participate in apprenticeship systems that gradually build competence. They receive age-appropriate responsibilities. 7-year-olds learn to identify ripe fruits by touch and smell. 10-year-olds master the techniques for proper seed selection. Teenagers take on complex preservation tasks that require scientific understanding. They learn about fermentation, drying, and storage methods. Stories that teach. Your community's storytelling traditions create educational experiences. These rival the most advanced modern teaching methods. Master storytellers weave practical wisdom into entertaining narratives. These stories capture children's imagination while transmitting essential survival knowledge. You listen as experienced farmers share tales of successful harvests and challenging seasons. Their stories contain detailed information about weather patterns, soil conditions, and crop management techniques. These aren't just entertaining stories, they're sophisticated educational tools that encode complex agricultural knowledge. They use memorable formats that children can easily retain and apply throughout their lives. Learning through competition. Ancient children participate in festival activities that develop both mental and physical skills. These skills are essential for adult success. You observe youngsters engaging in harvest contests that teach competitive spirit while building practical abilities. Apple picking competitions develop coordination and efficiency. Threshing contests build strength while teaching proper grain processing techniques. Preservation challenges combine scientific knowledge with creative problem solving. These games aren't just entertainment, they're comprehensive skill-building exercises that prepare children for adult responsibilities. They maintain the joyful spirit that makes learning effective and memorable. Specialized training. The apprenticeship systems operating during harvest festivals provide personalized education. This education adapts to each child's interests and abilities. You witness master craftspeople selecting promising young people for specialized training. Their careful instruction ensures that complex skills transfer successfully to the next generation. Metalworkers teach teenagers the science required for creating agricultural tools. Grain processors share the physics of efficient grain processing. Brewers demonstrate the chemistry of fermentation. These apprenticeships combine practical training with scientific education. They create learning experiences that prepare young people for specialized roles while maintaining community knowledge at the highest levels. Age-appropriate learning. Your community's approach to childhood education reveals sophisticated understanding. They understand developmental psychology and effective teaching methods. Children learn through graduated responsibility systems that build confidence while ensuring safety. Community members carefully supervise while allowing enough independence. This develops judgment and decision-making skills. You observe how different age groups receive instruction appropriate to their developmental stage. Young children learn through imitation and play. School-age kids participate in structured learning activities. Teenagers take on genuine responsibilities that contribute to community welfare while building adult competencies. Cultural preservation. The festival's emphasis on cultural preservation ensures that children learn not just practical skills, they also learn the values and traditions that maintain community unity. You participate in ceremonies where elders share community history. Their stories teach children about their heritage, while reinforcing the importance of cooperation. They learn about mutual support and shared responsibility. These cultural transmission activities create strong community identity. They ensure that traditional knowledge remains vibrant and relevant across generations. Songs, dances, and ritual activities encode complex cultural information. They use formats that children find engaging and easy to remember. Economic education. Ancient children's education during harvest festivals includes sophisticated lessons in economics and resource management. This prepares them for adult decision-making responsibilities. You watch youngsters learning to calculate preservation ratios. They understand the relationship between current choices and future security. They develop appreciation for the complex economic systems that support community prosperity. These aren't abstract lessons, but practical training. This training occurs within the context of real community activities. This makes economic principles tangible and relevant while building mathematical and analytical skills. It's enjoyable and socially meaningful. These are lessons that your ancient community understood intuitively. They created educational systems that modern schools still struggle to replicate. Capable young people. Your community's harvest festival education system produces remarkably competent and confident young people. They contribute meaningfully to community welfare, while maintaining the joy and creativity that makes childhood precious. These children aren't just being entertained, they're receiving comprehensive preparation for adult life. This combines practical skills, cultural knowledge, social competence, and emotional intelligence. This creates capable, contributing community members who will continue the cycle of prosperity and celebration for generations to come. Journey across ancient Europe. As dawn breaks over your village, the immediate celebration activities begin to wind down. You realize that what you've witnessed represents just one unique expression of a much broader phenomenon. The urge to explore becomes irresistible. You want to understand how other communities across the ancient world have adapted these same fundamental principles. They have adapted them to their own environments, crops, and traditions. Picture yourself now embarking on a journey. You walk across old Europe during harvest season. You will witness one of history's most amazing displays of cultural creativity. Each community has developed their own unique celebration. Each celebration perfectly matches their local environment, crops, and traditions. Cultural adaptation. This is not random change. It represents smart cultural adaptation. Communities in ancient times served as master problem solvers. They created festivals that supported both farming success and social unity. Your journey begins in the golden wheat fields of northern France. You join a harvest celebration that transforms entire villages into living theaters of agricultural artistry. The celebration focuses on the final bundle of wheat. This bundle receives treatment like royalty. You watch skilled harvesters compete not just for speed, but for beautiful bundling techniques. The winner becomes the temporary harvest king, or harvest queen. They lead parades through streets lined with intricate wheat sculptures. These sculptures rival any cathedral's stonework. French innovations. These are not simple decorations. They represent sophisticated displays of geometric knowledge. Communities create complex patterns requiring understanding of structural engineering and artistic balance. The French communities have mastered the art of turning agricultural abundance into visual poetry. Traveling southeast to the terraced vineyards of Burgundy, you discover how geography shapes celebration in breathtaking ways. The Grape Harvest Festival transforms entire hillsides into theaters of joy. Grape harvesting becomes a choreographed dance of human cooperation. Burgundy's terraced harvests. You marvel at how these communities have solved the complex puzzle of harvesting steep terrain. They use innovative teamwork. Harvesters work in carefully coordinated chains. They pass baskets from terrace to terrace in rhythmic patterns. All this maximizes efficiency while creating natural music. The festival culminates with community grape pressing. This requires dozens of people working in perfect timing. This represents more than just winemaking. It creates social bonds through shared physical effort. These bonds strengthen community resilience for the entire year ahead. Germanic festivals. Crossing the Rhine into Germanic territories, you encounter magnificent Thanksgiving harvest festivals. Communities have perfected the art of celebrating multiple harvests simultaneously. These innovative organizers recognize that their mixed farming economy requires equally sophisticated celebration strategies. They combine grains, root vegetables, and forest products. You witness parades featuring elaborate floats. These showcase everything from towering grain sculptures to intricate root vegetable mosaics. The Germanic communities have mastered complex logistical planning. They coordinate celebrations across different harvest schedules. This creates extended festival seasons that maintain community excitement for months. Brewing innovations. Their beer brewing traditions integrate seamlessly into harvest celebrations. They demonstrate advanced fermentation knowledge that rivals modern brewing science. These festivals feature competitive brewing contests. Communities showcase generations of accumulated expertise about grain selection, water quality, and fermentation timing. Your journey continues north to Scandinavia. You discover how harsh climate challenges create even more remarkable community innovations. The Harvest Festival represents triumph over environmental hardship. Communities celebrate not just abundance, but survival itself. Scandinavian survival strategies. These northern communities have developed sophisticated preservation techniques. They transform harvest festivals into essential survival preparation. You watch as entire villages participate in coordinated food preservation efforts. They smoke meats, ferment vegetables, and create complex storage systems that ensure winter survival. The festival foods reflect this practical wisdom. They feature hearty stews that maximize nutrition, preserved fish that provide essential proteins, and fermented dairy products. These products maintain vitamin content through dark winter months. These are not just parties, they are community survival strategies disguised as celebrations. Mediterranean variations. The Mediterranean regions offer yet another fascinating variation. You witness how olive and grain harvests create entirely different celebration rhythms. In southern Italy and coastal Spain, you participate in festivals that span multiple seasons. They follow the complex agricultural calendar of Mediterranean mixed crop farming. These communities have mastered the art of celebrating gradual harvests. They honor early fruits, grain harvests, olive pressing, and late-season vegetables through almost continuous celebration cycles. These cycles maintain community morale throughout the farming year. Agricultural genius. The sophisticated crop rotation systems these communities employ require collective planning and coordination. This makes modern farming cooperatives look simple by comparison. As you complete your journey across these diverse regions, you begin to understand something important. The remarkable celebrations you've witnessed represent something far more significant than cultural variety. They demonstrate the agricultural genius that forms the foundation of all these diverse expressions. The sophisticated farming knowledge underlying these harvest festivals represents one of history's most remarkable examples of community-based scientific innovation. Scientific innovation. As you participate in these celebrations, you witness the culmination of centuries of agricultural experimentation. You see environmental observation and knowledge sharing that rivals any modern research institution. These communities were not just throwing parties, they were celebrating the results of sophisticated farming systems that sustained civilizations for hundreds of years. The three-field system dominates much of ancient Europe. This represents agricultural innovation at its finest. You discover how communities have divided their land into carefully planned sections. One section is for winter crops like wheat and rye. One is for spring crops like oats and barley. One is left fallow to restore soil fertility. Soil science. This represents sophisticated soil science that maximizes both yield and sustainability. The harvest festivals celebrate not just this year's abundance, but the long-term thinking that ensures continued prosperity. Community elders share knowledge about soil indicators, weather patterns, and crop selection. This knowledge represents generations of accumulated scientific observation. These festivals serve as annual conferences where agricultural innovations spread between communities. This creates networks of knowledge sharing that rival modern academic institutions. Astronomical knowledge. The sophisticated understanding of seasonal timing that governs these celebrations demonstrates remarkable astronomical and weather knowledge. You observe how communities have identified optimal planting and harvesting windows. These are based on careful observation of celestial patterns, weather indicators, and plant behavior. The harvest festivals occur at precisely calculated moments. These moments maximize both agricultural success and food preservation effectiveness. These communities have developed complex calendars that integrate solar cycles, lunar phases, and local weather patterns into farming planning systems of extraordinary sophistication. Perfect timing. The festival timing is not arbitrary. It is based on accumulated knowledge about optimal grain moisture content, fruit ripeness indicators, and preservation timing. This timing ensures maximum food security. The crop selections celebrated in these festivals reflect centuries of plant breeding and environmental adaptation. This demonstrates remarkable botanical knowledge. You marvel at how communities have developed region-specific crop varieties. These varieties are perfectly adapted to local conditions. The wheat varieties celebrated in northern festivals differ dramatically from those grown in Mediterranean regions. This represents sophisticated understanding of genetics, climate adaptation, and soil requirements. Plant breeding expertise. These communities have created local grain varieties that optimize for everything from disease resistance to bread-making quality. This demonstrates plant breeding expertise that preceded modern agricultural science by centuries. The festival foods showcase this innovation. They They feature breads made from carefully selected grain varieties, preservation techniques that maximize nutrition, and cooking methods that enhance digestibility. The sophisticated water management systems that enable these abundant harvests represent engineering achievements that rival Roman aqueducts. You discover how communities have created complex irrigation networks, drainage systems, and water storage facilities. These ensure agricultural success regardless of seasonal variations. Mechanical engineering. The mill systems that process harvest grains demonstrate mechanical engineering knowledge. This encompasses everything from gear ratios to structural engineering. These water-powered mills represent community investments in technology that increase processing efficiency while reducing human labor. This is exactly the kind of innovation that drives long-term prosperity. The seed preservation techniques celebrated in these festivals demonstrate remarkable understanding of plant genetics and storage science. You observe how communities have developed sophisticated methods for maintaining seed viability, preventing pest damage, and preserving genetic diversity. This ensures continued agricultural success. Genetic understanding. The festival ceremonies around seed saving are not just symbolic, they are practical demonstrations of knowledge that ensures next year's harvest. These communities understand concepts like genetic diversity, hybrid vigor, and selective breeding. These concepts would not be formally recognized by academic science for centuries to come. The animal husbandry systems integrated into these agricultural celebrations represent equally sophisticated knowledge. They understand nutrition, breeding, and resource management. You witness how communities have developed complex systems for integrating livestock into crop production. Integrated systems. They use animal waste to fertilize fields. They employ animals for field preparation. They time animal breeding cycles to support farming seasons. The festival foods featuring meat, dairy, and eggs celebrate sophisticated understanding of animal nutrition, breeding selection, and product optimization. This maximizes both animal welfare and community benefit. These harvest festivals represent far more than simple celebrations. They are annual demonstrations of some of history's most sophisticated agricultural science. This science is implemented by communities that understood that sustainable prosperity requires both individual skill and collective cooperation. Social innovation. The joy and unity these festivals celebrate are not just social benefits. They are essential components of agricultural systems that sustain civilizations through centuries of environmental challenges and social change. As you stand in your village square watching the last flames of the harvest fire dance in the autumn sky, you realize something important. What you see is not just one celebration ending. You are witnessing the birth of traditions that will shape human civilization for hundreds of years to come. These celebrations from ancient times were not simple parties. They were sophisticated community innovations that fundamentally changed how people celebrate, organize events, and connect with each other. Modern event planning. They created patterns that shaped the development of modern society in ways that continue to influence our world today. Your village neighbors created careful organizational frameworks for their harvest week. They managed every detail with remarkable precision. This represented the birth of modern event planning. They successfully integrated religious ceremonies, commercial activities, social gatherings, and entertainment into one comprehensive celebration. This organizational pattern still exists today. Small town fairs and huge international festivals follow the same basic framework. The success formula developed in these ancient celebrations lives on in virtually every community gathering across the modern world. Inclusive community. Your village ensured that everyone could participate in the celebration regardless of social status or economic position. Rich and poor people, young and old, all had important roles that contributed to the festival's success. This created the inclusive and egalitarian spirit that characterizes modern community events. The management systems your neighbors developed were brilliant innovations. They mastered crowd control, food distribution, and entertainment coordination. They successfully managed large crowds safely. They organized food for everyone. They planned entertainment that maintained community engagement. Modern festival planning and event management still rely on these fundamental organizational principles. Agricultural legacy. The agricultural wisdom shared during your festival created lasting changes in how people understood food production, seasonal planning, and community resilience. People learned about sustainable farming practices that enabled communities to thrive for generations. You watched seed-saving ceremonies and heard discussions about crop rotation around harvest tables. You witnessed innovative food preservation techniques. These were not just ancient traditions, they were advanced agricultural techniques that enabled European communities to survive and prosper for centuries. Modern sustainable farming movements, community-supported agriculture programs, and local food systems build directly on innovations that harvest festivals help develop and spread throughout ancient communities. Economic innovation. Your festival demonstrated innovative economic models that balanced individual enterprise with community welfare. Local trade networks connected skilled craftspeople with customers. Master practitioners shared knowledge with apprentices. Communities developed resource-sharing systems that ensured everyone's basic needs were met. You watched skilled artisans demonstrate their expertise while teaching others and competing fairly. This created economic structures that enabled both individuals and communities to prosper simultaneously. These structures established principles that continue to influence modern economic thinking. Contemporary farmers' markets, artisan fairs, and local business networks follow organizational principles that harvest festivals helped establish centuries ago. Social unity. Perhaps most importantly, your community developed sophisticated methods for uniting people across social divisions. The festival traditions brought nobles and peasants together in shared activities. They gave voice to different generations and balanced individual recognition with group achievement. These were not just feel-good community activities, they were sophisticated experiments in social organization that helped establish principles of civic participation, mutual respect, and democratic cooperation. These principles became essential foundations of modern democratic culture. Cultural continuity. The cultural continuity you helped create extends far beyond celebration into fundamental aspects of human psychology and social health. People in ancient times understood that communities need regular opportunities for collective joy, shared purpose, and cultural transmission across generations. Your festival emphasized participation across age groups and valued storytelling traditions that preserved essential knowledge. These patterns of cultural preservation helped human wisdom survive through centuries of social change and political upheaval. Environmental awareness. The environmental awareness demonstrated in your harvest celebration was remarkably sophisticated. People paid careful attention to seasonal rhythms, respected natural cycles, and integrated human activity with ecological patterns. Modern environmental movements are still trying to achieve this integration. These festivals were not just celebrations of human achievement, they were sophisticated demonstrations of how communities could create abundance while maintaining harmony with natural systems. This established sustainable practices that preserved the foundations of future prosperity. Artistic achievement. The artistic innovations emerging from your festival were extraordinary cultural achievements. The music, dance, storytelling, and decorative arts brought communities together while showcasing individual talent in service of collective celebration. This became a model for how human creativity could enhance community life while preserving individual expression. Modern community arts programs and cultural festivals build on organizational principles that harvest celebrations helped establish. Spiritual integration. The spiritual dimensions of your celebration were profound integrations of gratitude, community service, and deeper meaning into daily life. People understood that true celebration should encompass both material abundance and spiritual fulfillment. This created frameworks for human flourishing that addressed both practical needs and existential questions. This approach influenced religious, philosophical, and cultural development for centuries. It established frameworks for meaningful living that continue to inform how modern communities address questions of purpose and spiritual well-being. Revolutionary understanding. You have experienced something that challenges everything you thought you knew about life in ancient times. The transformation in your understanding reveals something profound about human nature and the reality of historical achievement. These harvest festivals were not simple historical curiosities. They were sophisticated demonstrations of human organizational genius and community innovation. In many ways, they surpassed what modern societies have achieved in terms of social cohesion, environmental sustainability, and individual fulfillment. Hidden achievements. The myth of ancient times as harsh and primitive has hidden one of history's most remarkable achievements. These communities created social structures so successful that they provided foundations for virtually every positive development in human civilization that followed. Your neighbors were not struggling through a dark age, They were pioneering advanced approaches to agriculture, economics, governance, and social welfare that modern communities are still trying to match. The sophisticated agricultural systems that your festival celebrated sustained dense populations while creating reliable food security. They maintained environmental balance for centuries. The economic innovations that enabled your community's prosperity created wealth distribution patterns that many modern economies struggle to achieve. Social engineering. The social technologies that brought your diverse community together demonstrate approaches to managing difference and creating unity. Contemporary societies desperately need to rediscover these approaches. The democratic spirit that filled your harvest festival was not accidental or primitive. It was the result of centuries of sophisticated experimentation in human organization. These communities understood something essential about creating societies where people could thrive together. They maintained individual dignity and collective purpose. They were not simple folk following ancient traditions. They were innovative social engineers who had solved fundamental problems of human cooperation that modern democracies are still working to perfect. Peak achievement. The remarkable reality is that these harvest festivals represent peaks of human achievement in community building. When you compare the genuine inclusivity of these celebrations with the fragmented, commercialized festivals that often characterize modern community events, you understand both what we have lost and what remains possible. These communities had mastered the art of creating shared meaning, collective purpose, and authentic joy. This puts contemporary approaches to community building to shame. Proof of possibility. The lasting gift of these festivals is not just cultural continuity, it is proof of human capacity for creating extraordinary communities when people commit to working together toward common goals. They respect individual contributions and maintain connection to natural cycles. These celebrations demonstrate that the problems plaguing modern societies are not inevitable features of human civilization. Social fragmentation, economic inequality, environmental destruction, and loss of shared meaning are challenges that human communities have successfully addressed before. They can address them again by learning from the remarkable innovations that harvest festivals represent. Human potential. Your experience of authentic celebration reveals a profound truth about human potential. Human beings are capable of creating abundance, harmony, and joy when they organize themselves around principles of mutual support, shared responsibility, and respect for natural systems. The harvest festivals you witnessed stand as monuments to human ingenuity and cooperation. They prove that the capacity for creating extraordinary communities lies dormant within every human society. This capacity waits to be awakened by the same spirit of innovation, dedication, and shared purpose that made these historical celebrations possible. Your ancestors' legacy, the communities that created these magnificent harvest festivals, were not different from modern people. They were your ancestors, possessing the same intelligence, creativity, and capacity for cooperation that defines human nature at its best. Their achievements in community organization and social cooperation represent the human species at its finest. They demonstrate possibilities for human flourishing that remain as relevant and inspiring today as they were centuries ago. These harvest festivals were not just celebrations of seasonal abundance, they were celebrations of human potential, realized through the power of people working together toward common goals. They created communities where every person could thrive while contributing to something greater than themselves. They established patterns of cooperation and celebration that continue to inspire and guide human communities seeking to create meaningful, sustainable, and joyful ways of living together.